While the police chief was talking about a man who was brutalized in northern Brazil, a figure suddenly appeared, dressed just like the victim and stumbling as if confused.
Aqui para a Avenida Brasil, já foi esfaqueado lá. Até agora tem duas versões para o fato. A família informa que foi um assalto, né, que levaram a bicicleta dele, e outros populares falam que foi uma confusão num bar. Mas as nossas guarnições chegaram no local e impera a lei do silêncio. Então só vai ser repassado o caso para a Polícia Civil para que eles sejam investigados, para que apure o que aconteceu.
It turned out this person was wearing the same clothes and wandering near the crime scene. The dispatch center might have dismissed it as another prank call from UFO fans, but the cop's body cam told a different story. While responding to a 911 call, the officer saw a bright green light glowing over houses in Las Vegas. Shocked by what he witnessed, the cop told the civilians to call 911 if they spotted the strange UFO again.
Wait, if those 9-foot beings come back into your backyard, you call the police and we'll come back here, okay? Yeah.
Come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
It was a rough day at work for this cop. For some reason, he was searching an area when he suddenly heard a loud, high-pitched scream. Instead of checking where it came from or what caused it, he quickly turned around and headed straight back to his cruiser, scared. During a quiet night shift, a group of officers stood outside the station, talking to pass the time.
They all see this, all at the same time, including the footage.
Suddenly, a strong gust of wind slammed both doors open at once. They sprang up, expecting someone to enter, but the doorway remained empty, and the air felt unnaturally cold.
Is this real or staged? And why would a police station stage a ghost apparition? What do you guys think?
This security officer in Brazil probably wished he wasn't on duty that night. After the mall closed, he captured a chilling video of what looked like a ghostly figure ascending the escalator.
Olha aí, eu não disse, ó. Olha ela ali. Já é a segunda vez essa semana, ó. Eu tive que filmar para mostrar. Ninguém acredita em mim. Meu Deus do céu.
When the guard ran to confront the person, he hoped it was just a prank. To his surprise, the figure had vanished. But as he turned, he suddenly spotted the figure far away, near the escalator.
Ai, meu Jesus! Ai, meu Deus!
This security guard probably thought about quitting, but he needed to be sure he wasn't imagining things. While on duty, he saw a ghost-like figure float through the hallway before disappearing. To confirm he wasn't imagining things, the guard quickly checked the CCTV feed. There, he saw the ghostly figure, and the sight sent a chill down his spine. Staggered, he shot to his feet.
Look at I saw that shit. I saw that shit. See, I saw that shit. And I'm like, and then it disappeared over there by the desk. And I'm like, okay. So I looked at the camera, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna calm down. So I wanted to tell the camera, y'all see that shit? Y'all saw that shit, right? I'm telling CHA, did y'all see that? Okay.
In an exclusive new interview, Connecticut police officer Robert Klein revealed to the public proof of the strange encounter that he had in April 2022. The officer recorded a mysterious glowing light that changed colors as it floated across a nearby lake at an unrealistic speed.
I had just started my midnight shift, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was approximately 40 minutes into the shift, and I was checking up north near the body of water, which is a reservoir. As I was about 250 feet in, all of a sudden, from my left rear, there was a really strong light. It lit up the entire cab of my cruiser to the point where I was having a hard time driving because I really couldn't see it. I was blinded by it.
When the cop stopped his car for a closer look, he began hearing a strange humming sound. Surprisingly, a similar incident had occurred in Russia while a reporter was broadcasting from a field.
Gave off a low hum, which was very distinct, and nothing in none of the radio in the car, nothing was affected. It was just, I heard a low hum, and the light was just very intense. Like I could feel it. I could feel it. I could feel it.
Это красота и тайна. Недаром этим крылатым существам посвящено столько песен, сказаний, стихов и легенд. Но, к сожалению, последние годы эта красота подвергается все большей опасности. Только за последние 350 лет...
Олеська, смотри.
Ой, ничего себе! Что это? Вау! Блин, что это?
Пропал. Офигеть.
This dash cam footage shows the moment when officers entered a school in B that was said to be haunted. They had received a call from locals about a loud bang coming from inside the school. When the officers arrived, they saw a red door banging at the end of the hall. As the officers got closer, the door stopped banging. Hoping it was just a prank, they soon realized that there was a dead end beyond the door, and no one was there. It turned out the door was slamming on its own. While investigating an abandoned building, this patrol officer felt something was off about the place. He wasn't wrong. His body caught a scary shadow reflected on a window.
This place definitely gives out some creepy vibes.
The cop also noticed it but continued to scan the area until he heard a creepy laugh that spooked him.
I keep seeing shadows walking by. What the f***?
Logic can't explain the strange scenes captured by the CCTV camera in a courthouse in India. This happened in the court security room, where a chair moved on its own without any human interference. After a while, the chair stopped moving, but then one of the system screens started glitching, and all the system glitched at once. The hallway cameras showed that no one was there, but a strange sound echoed through the area. It sounded like someone was trying to force a door open, while another camera captured a drawer opening and closing by itself. On June 27, 2015, a police dash cam captured the moment when an officer, patrolling an area, saw a woman standing strangely in the middle of the road.
Witnessed on a ZUPD's car dash cam. This creepy encounter dates back to June 27, 2015. Officer Malik's routine patrol took a bizarre turn when he stumbled upon a woman standing eerily with her head down in the chilling early morning hours.
As soon as he slammed the brakes, the woman opened her arms and began to levitate as a strange fire burned at her feet.
The officer's suspicions were confirmed when he captured something truly supernatural on camera. As his vehicle draws closer, the woman appears to levitate off the ground with her arms extended. Part of her face seems to be burning as bright as the fire by her feet. It's a spine-chilling moment that defies explanation. Was it drugs, a mere illusion, or something more sinister?
A K-9 unit was sent to search a crime scene for more evidence. When they reached a closet, they began to hear the giggle of a little girl.
There's plenty of first here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow. Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that noise came from.
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It sort of sounded like it.
The K-9 dog seemed nervous and whined every time it heard the giggle.
Something. I heard it.
Did you hear it?
I did.
It sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Because all he did was go straight in there. That was strange, but we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around and looked. But I
A cop pulled over a driver for changing lanes incorrectly. As the officer asked for the driver's license, a bright light suddenly flashed out of nowhere.
This video surfaced online back in 2014. The entire scene was caught on Officer Joe Hall's dash cam as he pulled over a driver for an unsafe lane change. Per standard protocol, Hall approached the vehicle and asked the driver for his license and registration. According to the driver, as he reached over to provide the documentation to the officer.
The strange light melted the officer, and the driver quickly fled, calling 911. The officer's remains were left on the ground.
Standard protocol, Hall approached the vehicle and asked the driver for his license and registration. According to the driver, as he reached over to provide the documentation to the officer, he noticed a bright light in the distance. When all of a sudden, it was as if the officer began to melt and suddenly vanished right in front of his eyes. The driver immediately fled the scene and called 911 from his cell phone. When the police caught up to the driver, he was detained and questioned. However, when this dash cam footage surfaced, the driver was free to go. This is truly one of those incidences where you'll have to see it to believe it. What do you think really happened here?
This CCTV footage captures a strange moment when a security guard on patrol seemed to be talking to someone invisible. In the video, his partner called him over the radio, asking who he was speaking to.
Which is what happened next.
¿Qué hizo? ¿Era con quién está hablando ahí? Sí, ¿con quién está hablando ahí luego usted?
The guard replied that he was talking to a resident of the area, and that was when things got scarier. Apparently, the resident had passed away a week earlier.
Which is what happened next.
¿Qué hizo? ¿Era con quién está hablando ahí? Sí, ¿con quién está hablando ahí luego usted?
Una propietaria de la casa 125.
Marica, la propietaria de la casa 125 falleció hace como unos 20 días, marica.
No, ¿cómo así? ¿Qué me está diciendo?
Sí, no, usted está hablando ahí solo, marica. Lo estoy viendo aquí por la cámara, usted está hablando ahí solo.
No, como a mierda, loco.
The Espanola police station has made the news a few times for ghost sightings, but many still think it's a hoax. To prove what happened there, the station released footage showing a ghost encounter. The ghostly figure can be seen walking across the street from the station. During a high-speed chase, an unidentified driver gave the cops a tough time with his crazy car stunts.
We've seen how strange things can get at night. Well, things are about to get a whole lot stranger. This mysterious driver tricks cops into thinking he's about to pull over, then all hell breaks loose. The officers watching this tape get only a quick glimpse of the man behind the wheel. His moves are still baffling to the police as he swerves all over the road, driving like a man possessed. And just when he's really thrown the cops for a loop, he gets back on a straightaway, showing off a seemingly supernatural speed.
We're still approaching F16.
In just a moment, he's going to make a turn into the Twilight Zone. Watch.
After a while, the officers finally got the crazy driver. At least they thought they had. But in a mysterious turn of events, the driver drove his car straight through a fence at a dead end.
A fence at the end means no way out, or does it?
Late one night, a police patrol spotted a lone woman dressed in white, wandering along a deserted road. As the headlights illuminated her, she slowly turned around, revealing a sight that sent chills down their spines.
Well past midnight, a figure appeared from nowhere in the middle of the road, which left onlookers frightened and unable to explain.
Her tangled hair covered most of her face, and she was barefoot, leaving smears of blood on the pavement. In her hand, she clutched a knife, repeatedly pressing it against her skin. Without warning, she began moving toward the patrol car.
Let's take a look. There a few steps away from the car in the pitch dark is a dark woman-like figure standing, hair frazzled and barefoot. What would you do if you were to encounter this being alone?
Oh, God!
Panic set in as the officers shouted in fear. Without hesitation, they sped away, wanting nothing to do with whatever was happening.
No!
An NYPD officer believed to be possessed by dark forces was arrested before he could carry out a horrifying plan to cook and eat 100 women with an accomplice.
The feds arrested an NYPD officer who was suspected of meticulously plotting to kidnap, cook, and eat his girlfriend and up to 100 other women. The plot was foiled by the FBI before 28-year-old Gilberto Valle III could hatch his supposed plan. The officer who worked at the 26th precinct in Harlem was arrested in his Queens home Thursday. According to a filed federal report, Valle describes his gruesome plot to a co-conspirator in electronic messages, saying he was thinking of tying her body and prepping the victims to cook over low heat while still alive. While an unidentified conspirator wrote, "How big is your oven?" the officer was said to have mentioned, "Big enough to fit one of these girls if I folded their legs."
The motive remains unclear, but there is speculation that he was under the influence of an unknown, sinister force.
Suspected of accessing law enforcement database without authorization. The FBI also claims he kept 100 files on females he targeted. Each file had a woman's photo and name. Valle is suspected of plotting his human recipes.
After a bank alerted the Nigerian police force about a suspected fraudster, an armed guard was assigned to watch the suspect until the police arrived. Everything seemed normal until the suspect answered a phone call. Then, the unthinkable happened. The suspect vanished right before the armed guard's eyes.
See the suspect. The suspect is actually standing. Then he abruptly makes a call and disappears. He disappeared from the screen. This is a disappearance. See the police that was in front of him, confused and looking for him. He has disappeared. It's actually a very funny incident.
In just seconds, a hangout was shut down by the cops, but that wasn't the strangest part. As seen in the video, the group was chatting when something suddenly fell off a shelf on its own.
Maintenant, je pense qu'on va rentrer tranquillement. What?
C'est vous? Excusez-moi, est-ce que vous pouvez baisser la caméra?
Ouais, bien sûr.
At that exact moment, the officers entered the house and another object mysteriously dropped without anyone touching it.
What? Il y a de l'ambiance chez vous, monsieur? Bah ouais. Ouais, vous voulez venir avec nous ou quoi? Bah écoutez, non.
While the officers were investigating the house, something suddenly fell off a shelf.
It was a chilling moment for Nigeria when the Nigerian police force uncovered a ritualist gang involved in using human body parts for supernatural powers. During a police raid, the gang was caught with human skulls, sending shockwaves across the country.
You want me to come again?
Yeah.
I said 11 human skulls were recovered from this gang, and this is the gang leader. There are 6. This is the gang leader in this case. And we have named them the involvement of each and individual in this crime. And I'm going to go to the first quarter in the conference to give you the detail of the involvement of each individual in this crime.
The culprits were made to walk with the skeletal remains of their victims.
It's okay now. Hello, sir. No, can you do that? It's okay, yeah. You want? Let them go.
These officers entered an open house to investigate. As they walked into one of the rooms, the houses seemed empty and nothing suspicious was going on.
Police, if anyone's here, make yourself known. Police.
As the officers continued their search, a door behind one of them suddenly began to close on its own, even though the room was completely empty.
Anyone inside?
These officers had no chill, and it looks like they got in trouble after their dash cam footage was leaked. After reports of strange sounds from a graveyard, the officer went to investigate. They didn't stick around when they heard them for themselves. They took off running. The restaurant's security camera first showed an ordinary, peaceful night, but things quickly took a strange turn when a ghostly figure appeared outside the building.
Starting with a horrifying moment in which a ghost is shown on surveillance video outside of a restaurant that is supposedly haunted, which prompts the police to begin their investigation.
Not long after, an alarm went off, and the police were called to check on the disturbance.
Approximately 1 minute after the ghost.
The security guard in this video was patrolling an empty school late at night and started hearing strange noises echoing through the halls. To prove he wasn't imagining things, he pulled out his phone and started recording. That's when he saw it, a dark shadow flickering in and out of sight. Heart pounding, he searched every corner, but there was no one there. This vigilante group stormed an abandoned house, weapons ready. The first thing they saw was a child sitting alone in an open room. As they stepped closer to question the child, the door suddenly slammed shut, sending them running in fear.
Oi, é uma criança, velho! Sai!
As these armed officers stormed an abandoned building, they noticed the door swinging back and forth at an unnatural speed. Uneasy about the door moving on its own, they hesitated.
Que é isso, mano? Cuidado, Judá. Cuidado, mano. Que é isso, mano? Mano, não tem nada. Caralho, mano. Que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano, bora, mano.
Just as they turned to leave, a loud crash echoed from inside.
Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano.
Answering a break-in call, this officer was certain the house was empty, But as he walked back to his cruiser, he spotted a figure standing by the entrance, watching him.
At least I know I'm not crazy. Because there's definitely somebody standing right there.
Each time the cop tried to get a better look, the figure vanished.
And now they're gone. Tell me how nuts. And now they're back. You see it? Tell me I'm crazy. That's the creepiest I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely not.